Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's another great day to discuss other people's excellence. I'm the unforgettable one, Mr. Brett Carroll, and I'm just a guy that likes BS at work. Did y'all miss me? Because I missed y'all, man. I missed y'all. Welcome back, bro. This is a great day to do this. Um, yeah, I apologize. I've been away last couple of weeks, work stuff, other things. I was gonna do a pod last week. I was gonna do like a weekly recap. We haven't done that in a while. And I thought about it and I was like, realistically, there's only like two or three teams I want to talk about. And then I thought about it, I was like, but even with those teams, it was more draft related stuff. So I was like, okay, let's do a mock draft. Why not? People love the mock drafts. Let's do a mock draft. And then I was gonna do it last week, and I realized, oh wait, it's Championship Saturday. Let's just wait till next week because Championship Saturday is a huge benchmark, right? If people perform well, their stock will go up. If people don't perform well, their stock will go down. We'll know who's in the college football playoff and how that could have implications. And so I was all right, let's just wait. So we are here. It's post-championship Saturday in college football. And it's a good benchmark to do this. Because yeah, we're in the thick of it now. We are kind of really in mock draft season. This is still a way too early because obviously the season still isn't done yet. We still don't have the draft order and everything, but this is a pretty good benchmark to do another one of these. So here we go. Let's get started. With the current draft order, I don't see any. We're gonna kind of just go to form here. I'm going to take Shador Sanders for the Raiders. By the way, if you're new here, real quick, um, the way we do this is a snapshot in time. This will be have trades in it. We always do ones with trades. But basically, if the draft were to happen this Thursday, this is how I think the draft will go. We're doing three rounds, by the way. This is round one. And then the video that you'll see on Tuesday will be rounds two and three. So yeah, Shador Sanders. I think this is the pick here. Uh, I think that this is where Shador's gonna want to go only because Tom Brady, he's a mentor to him. He's a close family friend. He's now a part owner of the Raiders, and most importantly, because he's a part owner of the Raiders, because of the rules, if Shador Sanders goes anywhere else, like Tom Brady literally can't like talk to him. You know what I mean? Like, trust me, as somebody who knows people in professional sports, that's like a big thing. Like, Tom Brady cannot have a relationship with him if he goes somewhere else. Um, and so if you're Dion, I'm assuming he's going to stay in college. I don't see him going to the NFL. I don't see how, I don't think he has any interest in going to the NFL. I could be wrong. Whether he stays at Colorado or not doesn't matter. Um, but I think for Dion, you want somewhere that you feel like your son will be protected, be looked after, will be able to develop, when you're not there to do that for him. And having Tom Brady in the building, even though he won't technically be in the building because he'll be doing his broadcasting, but at least have ties to the building, will have the pulse of the building, can still, again, mentor and look after Shador when Dion's not around to do so. I think that's going to make him the most comfortable, make Shador the most comfortable. Um, and so that's where I have Shador going. If you were the Giants, now that Daniel Jones has officially been cut and he is gone, I kind of was thinking not going quarterback a couple weeks ago, but now that Daniel Jones is gone, I feel like you have to at this point. Um, and so that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna take Cam Ward. Um, I'm just telling you now, and I'm gonna repeat this throughout this process. This pick will be Drew Lock. Just throwing that out there. This pick will be Drew Lock. Again, this is a snapshot in time. So as of right now, the pick is Cam Ward. But I'm almost willing to bet anything that by the time we get to April, Drew Lock will be a top five pick. And if the draft order is relatively what it is now, because there's still a few weeks left, the Giants will be drafting Drew Lock. Just remember I told you that. Anyway, if you are the Patriots, I guess you go Travis Hunter here. Travis is interesting to me. He's the number one player on the board, and I get that. I just have a hard time believing that NFL teams are going to want him because he's technically not cornerback one. And by the way, this is not Travis Hunter hate. I know he's getting a lot of hate right now because of the whole Heisman situation with him and Ashton Genty and da 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 da. And people are saying he's overrated. I'm not saying he's overrated. I'm not saying he's overrated. I'm not trying to just, what I'm saying is if I'm an NFL team and I'm taking Travis Hunter, if I want a corner, there's two corners that I think that are better, right? If I want a receiver, there's probably only one, but there's still a receiver that I think is better, right? He might be wide receiver too. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. Who knows how scouts look at him? I think he's corner three, and I think he's wide receiver two, right? So my point is, if you want a wide receiver, there's a better wide receiver prospect. If you want a corner, I think there's two corner prospects, maybe one, but still, he's not corner one in my opinion. Um, so unless you think that he can be wide receiver one or corner one if he strictly sticks to one position, fair. I think he has shown how athletic he is. I think he has shown how much of football IQ he has, where you say to yourself, well, he could be the best receiver in this class if he focuses on being a receiver. And he could be the best corner in this class if he strictly focuses on being a corner. The corner route is weird to me because I still think Will Johnson and maybe even Ben Morrison are still better corner prospects. Receiver, again, this is kind of a weaker receiver class, so it's not saying much, but I do think he could be the best receiver in the class if he's strictly focused on being a receiver. But the point is, I still don't know how I think NFL teams view Travis Hunter because if he wants to play both, I don't see a team wanting him to do that. Maybe they could dabble in both, but I think they're going to want him to pick primarily one side. And then again, even if he picks one side, again, he's not corner one, and he's probably not corner two, and he's not wide receiver one. So, are you picking somebody that you plan on having him play both? And how good do you think he can be if you plan on having him play both? Or is it a marketability thing? This is a business, right? Do you want butts in the seat? Are you going to promote him as Shohei Ohtani and hope that people show up just to see if he can play both sides of the football and at the pro level, right? And really be good on both sides, right? Yeah, anybody could, well, not anybody, but you could throw a lot of athletes out there and have them play both sides. But is he going to be an NFL caliber player on both sides of the football? Um, I say all that to say I kind of feel like this doesn't make sense for the Patriots to take Travis Hunter because I don't think they want the sideshow that is Travis Hunter. And when I say sideshow, I literally just mean, oh, come see this guy play both sides. Because I'm not saying he's a diva. I'm not saying he's gonna be a cancer in the locker room. I'm saying the spectacle of seeing him play both. I don't think they really care about that. They have Drake May, you know what I mean? Like they kind of already have their marquee, marketable player. Um, I think they really just want to get better at football. And so again, if you think he's a receiver, there's another receiver better. And if you think he's a corner, there's a corner, there's at least one corner that's better. So if you're taking the marketability aspect out of it and you're just looking at the player, I don't think Travis Hunter fits what they want to do. Now, again, I will say this, they do need some corner help. They do need some receiver help. If they truly believe he could be a really good player that could do both, then yeah, you take him. You kill two birds with one stone here. I just don't see any NFL team realistically thinking that's going to be a thing. I think most teams are like, yeah, bro, that's hard to do at the NFL level, especially to stay healthy and do it at the NFL level. we're going to want you to pick a side. And because we're having you pick a side, there's better players at your position on both sides. Again, you're probably top three on at both prospect in this draft. Again, that's what I'm saying. He's still a really good player, but you're not number one at any of them. So I'm going to actually go with Tedero and McMillan here for the Patriots because I think that just makes more sense for what they want. They need a receiver. They're doing that, and yeah, it just makes more sense. Okay, Panthers. Ooh, this Panthers team is interesting. So last time I had them trade down, I made this whole big spiel about how I think they should be trading down, trading down, trading down. I'm off of that train. I did not realize they have a crap ton of like fourth and fifth round picks. They have a lot of picks within the top, I think like 120 or something like that. And this in this 3 round mock, they only have one first, one second, one third. But again, I think they have multiple fourths and they have like multiple fifths. I think they have like three fifths and I think they have like two or three fourths. Like they have a lot of picks all within like the top 120. So they don't need to trade down. They can sit here and take best player available, right? Here is a good problem to have, but a problem. Where do you go? Like I said last time, I think their best bet is to try to double up on a position and try to really be great in one place. Now, since we last talked, Bryce Young has played well, so I don't think as of right now, quarterback is no longer a question. They're gonna go with Bryce Young next year and hope he continues to be good. Chuba Hubbard, they paid, so running back's not a question. Jonathan Brooks got hurt this week, so that sucks. You hope he could come back, but again, running back might not be an issue. Receiver is interesting, and Tedero McMillan just got drafted, so now that kind of hurts you because there's definitely not another receiver I'm taking in the top five. I mean, again, unless you want to take Travis Hunter here. Um, but the point I'm making is receiver is interesting because Leggett, it's still been up and down, had another bad drop that could have been a game winner. But he's still showing flashes. Coker has kind of fallen off a little bit. Adam Thielen's playing well, but again, I don't think he'll be back next year. So wide receiver is something that you can focus on. But again, they have plenty of picks that can get receivers. Um, it's really the defense that you're looking at. The defense is still not that good, and they need pieces. A Mason Graham with a Derek Brown sounds so enticing to me, man. Like that sounds amazing. Let's get that a nasty front line. That's amazing. Abdul Carter, edge rusher. They've been needing edge rusher for years. Um, but the problem with Abdul Carter is they don't have another pass rusher. If Brian Burns was still on the team, I would say Abdul Carter. We're not even talking about this, right? By the way, if you think James Pierce is edge one, you can flip Abdul Carter for James Pierce. Doesn't matter. Point is, those are two really good edge talents. Cool. But then you also have Will Johnson. Will Johnson, we haven't seen much this year because of an injury, but Will Johnson's a really good corner prospect, like a really, really good corner prospect. And you have J.C. Horn. So do you want to pair them up and have a nasty boundary corner duo that can lock up all those receivers that are in the NFC South and anybody else they might face? I don't know what you want to do. And again, it's a good problem to have because this is a really good defensive draft. This defensive line class is amazing, both edges and defensive interior, right? So you can go uh Mason Graham and get some more edge help in the second and third round, right? And again, have a nasty D line. You can go Abdul Carter and get defensive interior in another round and still have a nasty defensive line. And by the way, you can still get another corner. You can go corner and still get both a good edge and a good defensive interior in the second and third round, and have a nasty cornerback group and a nasty D line. Um, it's funny. I think Alex from Hail Mary Sports said this. It's like, do you go Abdul Carter and then just take TJ Sanders in the second round? Or do you take Mason Graham and then take, let me see where he's at. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And then take Kyle Kennard in the second round, right? What South Carolina D line talent do you want in the second round, right? You could take Abdul Carter and then take TJ Sanders, who's a monster defensive interior in the second round, or you could take Mason Graham and then take Kyle Kennard, who's a monster edge rusher in the second round. Again, I still think Will Johnson might be a thing. Here's my thing. Here's why this is really hard. The gap between Will Johnson and the corner that you can get in the second or third round to me is much greater than the gap between Mason Graham and the defensive interior that you can get. Mason Graham's a beast, don't get me wrong, but again, this is a nasty, and I mean nasty defensive interior class. The guy you can get in the second round, even though he's not Mason Graham, I think the gap is much shorter. Same thing with Abdul Carter. It's a nasty edge class. The edge you can get in the second round, I think, is short. Unless, here's my one caveat: if you truly believe Abdul Carter is Michael Parsons, then you draft him, and we're not talking about this, right? Everything else goes out the window. If you think he's Michael Parsons, you draft him. I don't think he's that good. I think he's really good. I don't think he's that good. And so that's what makes this harder. If you truly believe he's Michael Parsons, then you take him, and we're not even having this discussion. Um, but yeah, the gap between Mason Graham and whoever they'll get in the second round is shorter, and the gap between Abdul Carter and whoever they get in the second round is shorter than the gap between Will Johnson and whoever they can get in the second round. But the issue with that also is I'm old school. I do believe you build through the trenches, right? So you get that defensive line done first, and then you worry about corner later. Um, so which kind of narrows it down to these two guys. And the problem with Abdul Carter is, like I said before, with Mason Graham, you can build something nasty from the inside out. Um, Abdul Carter, you still need another edge rusher, right? And again, it's a good edge class. You can get another edge rusher in the later round. But as a team that's been struggling to find edge help for a long time, again, they had Brian Burns for years and they couldn't find somebody to be his partner. Maybe you say, let's just take this dude, pray he is Micah Parsons, and go from there. Um, I don't know, it's a coin flip. I think I took Will Johnson last time. So this time I think I'm gonna do the Mason Graham route. I'm gonna go Mason Graham here. I just really, really, really am just thinking about how awesome that line can be if you had Mason Graham and Derek Brown as the anchors in the middle. Who's gonna so you're not running the ball on them, and you're gonna get that interior pressure that quarterbacks hate, right? They hate not being able to step up in the pocket. They hate not being able to step into a throw because they got pressure right in front of them. Um, they hate having to spin out into oncoming edge rush help. You know what I mean? So when you can get pressure from the inside and you're gonna be able to stop the run, I think I gotta do it. I think the gap between Mason, and matter of fact, out of the three options that I had, I think the gap between Mason and whoever you will get in the second round is the shortest, but I still think he's that good, and that line could be that good. That's what I'm gonna do here. So I'm gonna take Mason Graham. Okay. I'm sorry, Jacksonville Jaguars. Here, I think I am going to take Travis Hunter here, only because I think Jacksonville, because they've been so bad lately, I think the markability factor of a Travis Hunter makes more sense for Jacksonville than it does the Patriots. I just don't think the Patriots care about that at all. I think it's strictly let's just retool or rebuild around this young quarterback who's our future. Let's get the best players available, put a good team around him. With Jacksonville, it's like, yeah, we got to win games, but we got to start making people want to come to the stadium again. Trevor Lawrence is not, the golden boy that we thought he was. He's still a good quarterback, but not the football Jesus that we were hoping he was going to be. Travis Hunter might put some butts in seats. And by the way, they're renovating the stadium, right? So you want to, I mean, I know that's not for another couple years, but you want marketable players that's going to make people want to show up. So I do think Travis Hunter makes a lot of sense here. So I'm going to go ahead and take Travis Hunter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, Tennessee. They're kind of screwed in this. They would have loved to have Tedro McMillan fall to them. He did not. Uh, I don't see them taking the quarterback here. Again, come April, Drew Lars is in this top two, which means Cam Ward is here for Tennessee. Um, I guess you gotta just take Will Campbell here. It makes, do it that way. It makes a lot of sense. So we're gonna go ahead and do that and take Will Campbell. And now, if you are the Jets, Will Johnson makes a lot of sense here. I know they're going to lose some corners in free agency. We don't know who their coach is going to be. If it's an offensive minded coach, he might not care about the corners. But if it's another defensive minded coach, a guy like Will Johnson or Abdul Carter makes a lot of sense here. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take Will Johnson. I'm gonna go ahead and take Will Johnson here. Okay, the Cleveland Browns. I think this is an Ashton Genty pick only because you're kind of stuck with Deshaun Watson. You could always re-sign Jameis. Jameis has made Jameis at the very least has shown you that your offense can be productive, right? Jameis has at least shown you that even if you're stuck with Deshaun Watson, if you can get Deshaun Watson to just play better, you have some weapons. Jerry Jeudy has been a godsend for them, and Njoku's one of the best tight ends in the league. Um, Chubb, unfortunately, with all the injuries, just isn't his same self. If you can get an Ashton Genty, that makes your offense that much more dynamic, and it takes pressure off of Deshaun Watson if you can run the football better. So we're gonna go ahead and take Ashton Genty here. And then here's where I think I'm going to take Abdul Carter for the Chicago Bears. I know they need to fix that offensive line, and maybe this is Kelvin Banks or Josh Simmons, or Ursery. Um, I don't want I don't want Abdul Carter to fall to the Bengals. But two, I don't know how you I don't know how you pass up on a guy like this. He's best player available by far. I mean, he should be a top five pick. Again, he could easily go here to four. Like let's be real here. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take Calvin Banks. They have their quarterback of the future. They have to be able to protect him and fix that offensive line. So we're gonna take Calvin Banks. Okay. The Bengals was another team I wanted to talk about. And it's funny, I'm doing this off the top of my head in terms of draft order. I had no thoughts of Abdul Carter even being here when I was having this conversation in my head about the Bengals. But now that Abdul Carter's here, it proves my point even more. As a Steelers fan, I hate this. The Bengals are going to be unstoppable in 2 years. Beginning of the season, when I think Ravens were 0 2, the Browns were 0 2, and the Bengals were 0 2, I was like, dude, I need y'all to start winning some games. I'm glad we beat them, obviously. I'm trying to win. But I need y'all to start winning some games. One, I'm a competitive person. I like beating my rivals when my rivals are good. Beating on them when they're not good is not as fun. I like it when we both have something to play for and we're both fighting for the same things, and then we beat you. Then it's like, yeah. Um, but two, the Bengals are a good football team, dude. Like, same with the Browns. I mean, I'm not as worried about the Browns because the Browns are the Browns. And until they prove otherwise, I'm still going to treat them as the Browns. But two, the Browns need you see their needs. The Browns need offensive players, and this isn't the greatest offensive draft. The Bengals need defensive players, and this is a fantastic defensive draft. Granted, it's mock draft Monday as you're seeing this, so they have not played the Cowboys yet. Hopefully, they beat the Cowboys and move down the ranks. They might not be pick 10, but still, they're probably, unless they win out, which I hope they don't because we played in the last game of the season. But unless they like win out, they're probably gonna have a top 15 pick. I do not want them having a top 15 pick every round. This is a fantastic draft, especially on the defensive line. And you see this needs D line. D line. They need a receiver. They can get a receiver in the second or third round. But if they're picking in the top 15 in every round, there's going to be some monster defensive talent that falls to them. Again, I wasn't even predicting Abdul Carter was here. I was thinking taking a Malachi Starks or a Nick Scourton or a Jalen Walker or where is he on here? Why? Oh, yeah, why? Wow, that's disrespectful. He should not be that far down. Or a James Pierce. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm gonna go ahead and take Abdul Carter. Because again, I wasn't even expecting. In my brain, there was no way Abdul Carter fell to them at 10. If you're the Bengals, you are tearing an Achilles and your ACL with how fast you're running to the podium to take Abdul Carter if he falls to you in this position. But that's just Abdul Carter. We're gonna see in the rounds 2 and 3 in tomorrow's video, the talent that they're gonna get in the second and third round, and I'm going to be livid. I'm going to be livid because they are going to be in even if they don't replace T. Higgins this offseason via the draft or via free agency, okay, they're gonna go from scoring 35 points a game to 25 points a game. Wow. But imagine if they could actually stop somebody. They're still going to, oh my God, this team's going to be so good. This team's going to be so good. I hate this. I really do. I need them to find some magic and just win out and like get out of the top 15. They're still going to get good players in this draft because again, this draft class is loaded with defensive talent. But my God. Anyway, for the Saints, I kind of want to take Nick Scorton here. They kind of like their bigger edge rushers. He's a bigger edge rusher. Um, 6'4", 285. Yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense for them. I'm gonna go ahead and have Nick Skelton be a New Orleans Saint. The Cowboys kind of in an interesting spot because they were an Ashton Genty destination. I really want to go receiver, but I still think it's too early to take another receiver. I know they have Luther Burden as their ninth ranked player. Sure. I mean, he could technically go in this range. I wouldn't be surprised. Isaiah Bond is somebody that they could do. I think I will go receiver because I feel like you just paid Dak, you just paid CD. They're gonna pay Micah. I think you got to make sure this offense is back to being what it could be. Um, and there's some really good running backs. This is a really good running back class. They can get a running back in the second round. Yeah, I think having another explosive player in Isaiah Bond. Luther Burden's a little too much like what they already have in CD. So I'm gonna give them Isaiah Bond as just, if nothing else, he's a deep threat with his speed and his route running. That could kind of open up the underneath routes for CD and everything else. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Isaiah Bond here. Okay, the Dolphins. Um, Josh Simmons is hurt, so I would have had him go to the Bears if he wasn't hurt. I wonder if he comes back to school. Uh, Ursery makes a lot of sense. let's do Earth three again. I'm gonna assume Josh Simmons is coming back to school and boost his draft stock because he could have been a top five pick had he stayed healthy. This tackle class is weird. There's not like a lot of true tackles. A lot of these guys kind of project to being guards in the NFL. They need a guard anyway, so let's take him. If he pans out at tackle, great. If he has to kick in the guard, I think they're still happy with it. Okay, Malachi Starks to the Colts is a pick that I've done a lot, and I've seen a lot of people do. It makes a lot of sense. Tight end is also another one that makes a lot of sense. Um, I kind of want. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and take the Malachi Starks route. I really like him as a player, and I think he could really help that team. Otherwise, I would have probably went Tyler Warren. Makes a lot of sense too. Okay, I'm gonna go Jalen Walker here or no, not Jalen Walker, Mikael Williams here. I guess it's just the Georgia's Atlanta thing. It makes a lot of sense. Give them that edge help that they need. So yeah, let's do that. Luther Burden to the Cardinals. Kind of like that. Um, but I also kind of like Luther Burden to the Broncos. Yeah, let's do that. This is supposed to be a trade. I haven't made a trade yet. And we did the first 15 picks without trades. Let's start trading up a little bit. Just a little bit. So this is not that gonna be that bad. You gotta give up 86. We're gonna do that. And we're gonna have them trade up to get Luther Burden. Bo Nix has been showing a lot of promise. I think Sean Payton wants that offense humming. So we're gonna give them Luther Burden, um, a perfect player for Sean Payton's system. All right. The 49ers, they need to fix that offensive line, and Ursery would have made a lot more sense for them. But Wyatt Milam, I think, makes sense too. So we're gonna go ahead and take him for the Niners, which kind of screws over the Rams because they also are gonna want some tackle help. Um, Let me see who else is still here from the town. Cam Williams here, but Cam Williams is more of a right tackle. Do they need a right tackle? Uh, there's no one else I would even think of putting in the. Maybe I think you got to take Cam Williams. As of right now, there's nobody else I would put in as a first round tackle. So maybe Cam Williams is the pick here. So we're gonna go ahead and take Cam Williams. All right. The Buccaneers. We could take Emeka Buka if Chris Godwin's gone in free agency, but I feel like they're gonna bring him back. We could take Ben Morrison, and I kind of like getting Ben Morrison off the board early. I know he had a hip injury, but like this dude was like a top five prospect before that. So him falling to 19 kind of, I guess my point, well, he's going to be gone in the next two picks. If I don't have him go to Tampa Bay, he's going to go to Washington. So cool. Um, is James Pierce still on the board? Who's here at Edge? Let me see. He is still here on the board. Yeah, maybe we do that. Maybe we do that. Yeah, I like it. I think I like James Pierce a lot. Again, I have Abdul Carter as my edge one. If I know there's still some people that still have James Pierce as their edge one, I'm not going to argue that. I think they're both fantastic players. It's one of those things. Again, I wasn't going to mention it with the Panthers part because I knew that was already going to be a long spiel, but it's kind of to me, I kind of look at it like J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain. Like Patrick Surtain is probably the best corner in football right now, but like there's not too many people in Carolina that's mad to have J.C. Horn. Like especially when he's healthy. I know he has been healthy, so that's probably the one thing that you hate. But like when he's healthy, he's still a really good corner. So like yeah, we could have had Patrick Surtain, and everybody had Patrick Surtain as their corner one in that draft. So it's kind of head scratching that you went J.C. Horn over Patrick Surtain, but like. JC Horn's still a good enough player where you're not like punching holes in the wall. I think it's the same thing here with James Pierce and Abdul Carter. I think it's going to be the same thing where Abdul Carter is edge one. If somebody takes James Pierce over him, I think Abdul Carter might be the better player, but whoever took James Pierce is not going to be like mad they took James Pierce, if that makes sense. So, yeah, we're going to do that. Okay. Washington. I said Benjamin Morrison, and we're going to do that. Okay, Chargers. Which Michigan player are you taking? Are you taking? Oh, look, in the right. Oh, look at that. I love that. Are you taking Colston Loveland or are you taking Kenneth Grant? Um, I think Kenneth Grant. I think you take Colston Loveland here because again, this is such a good defensive interior class. You can get another good defensive interior player. Now, granted, I think Tyler Warren is tight end one as of right now over Colston Loveland. Obviously, PFF does not agree. Where do they have? They have Tyler Warren ranked 31st. They have Colston Loveland ranked 20th. I personally think Tyler Warren is tight end one. I also think if you are the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh as your coach, you cannot take Tyler Warren over Colston Loveland. I think that sends a bad message to, well, I guess you could argue either way. Does it send a worse message to your football team that you're just going to take the Michigan guys over anybody else, even if people think the other one's better? Or does it send a bad message where it's like, damn, you're not even loyal to your own people? I think when it's close like this, I don't think it's that big. Again, PFF has Colston Loveland as tight end one. I don't. I have Tyler Warren, but it's not like it's again, it's like James Pierce and Abdul Carter. I think if you take Colston Loveland, I think Tyler Warren will be the better pro, but I think Colston Loveland will be good enough where you're not like, oh my God, I can't believe we passed on Tyler Warren for this guy. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm gonna go ahead and take Colston Loveland. Okay. Cardinals traded down, got an extra pick out of the deal. Great for them. And now taking Jalen Walker here is giving them even better value. Um, I still kind of want to get them a receiver, though, if I'm being honest. If I'm being honest, I still kind of want to get them a receiver. I feel like when you have Kyler Murray under contract and you have a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr., don't you want that offense to just be like unstoppable? Um, I'm not gonna go receiver because now that there's not another receiver that I would take in the first round, at least this high in the first round. So I'm not gonna go receiver. Jalen Walker makes a lot of sense. Kenneth Grant makes a lot of sense. Sean Stewart makes a lot of sense. Um, you know what? This is where we're gonna play. the draft board game. I'm going to take Jalen Walker because you see here your division rival also needs a linebacker, right? So this is where you trade back one spot ahead of them to take a guy that they would have wanted just to give them the perennial middle finger, especially because a lot of the tackles are already off the board. And so if you are the Seahawks, you either need to trade down now or maybe reach a little bit on an offensive line talent. So I kind of like that. I'm not trying to troll the Seahawks. I have no problem with the Seahawks, but these are some of the games that people play during the draft. So yeah, I like that that worked out for the Cardinals. Traded down, got a player that you would have taken when you traded when in the original position, got better value for him, even better value for him, got a draft pick out the deal, and potentially screwed a division opponent. So yeah, what's not to like? And I think if you are Seattle, I think you then say, you know what, we will do the same thing. We will trade out of here. Very short trade. Um, Again, get another third round pick out of the deal. And we will let the Green Bay Packers jump the Baltimore Ravens and take Siobhan Ravel, corner. So there you go. So now if you're the Ravens, you're getting screwed. Which I like. And you know what? Before you say, oh, you're just being a Steelers fan, if you've watched any of my mock drafts, you know I'm a masochist. I always give my division opponents great players, and I always say, oh my God, I'm going to cry if this happens in real life. And by the way, I just let Abdul Carter fall all the way to 10 to the Bengals. So I don't want to hear it. Ravens, you get screwed in this draft. Don't cry about it because I always take care of y'all. So now with the Ravens here, um, they kind of are in a bad position here, huh? With the Ravens here, yeah, again, the offensive line talent in this draft is kind of shaky, and that's something they really want and need. Um, they could still go Jahdae Barron at a corner. That's not a bad pick, but I think they're gonna want to fix that offensive line. When you have Lamar, when you have Derrick Henry, their offense is really good, but at times their offensive line hurts them. I think they are gonna want to fix that offensive line. So I'm gonna go Marcus Embo here for them. Okay, here's where Shamar Stewart is coming off the board for Houston. We're not even gonna think about it. If you are Seattle, you traded down, you got some, draft capital out of the deal. Um, and I think this was a good trade down for you because now you can get a little bit more value on this offensive lineman that you're going to take. And I'm going to take Jonah Savaliene. I think that's how you say it. Um, Again, good player, probably is a guard at the next level, but yeah, much better value um, at 26 than where you were before. Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, interesting predicament to be in. Um, they could take a Marion Hampton here. I don't think they're going to take another running back in the first round. We just saw the issue with that with Najee. Najee, ironically, has been playing so well that I think it's going to be impossible to re-sign him because they're going to have to spend some money to re-sign him. And I don't think they're going to do that. And this is a really good running back class, so don't do it. Like I said, there is no other receiver that I would take here, and we're great at getting receivers in the second and third round. There's a lot of great receivers that will be there in the second and third round. Matter of fact, let me just show you for a second. He probably won't be there. He probably won't be there. But we got Kyron Lacy, we got Trey Harris, we got Jalen Rose, we got Torrey Horton, we got Juice Wells, we got Ty Felton, we got Jaden Higgins, we got Evan Stewart. Tez Johnson just had a great game. He had a great game in the uh Big Ten championship game. Might have made himself some money. I don't even know why. Yeah, I don't know why they have him so far ranked down, but he's gonna be moving up boards. There Deion Burks, there Ricky White. There are Evan Stewart. I really like Ty Felton, Torrey Holton, Jalen Royals. There are some really good receivers that we can get in the second and third round. So I'm not touching uh receiver here. Kenneth Grant is somebody I gotta think about. We're gonna lose Ogunjobi in free agency. Cam Hayward is playing lights out this year, but he's still older. You still want to at least solidify that line while you still have him there. Plus, also again, have somebody for the future. But again, another great defensive line, interior class. You can get somebody in the second and third round. Um, I did Jahdae Barron last time, corner out of Texas. That's definitely somebody that we can consider doing. But I'm gonna do it. I keep talking about him. I'm going Drew Alar. I'm telling you, this is a snapshot in time, right? So this is if the draft were happening Thursday, he'll be here, and I'll be ecstatic that we take him. I'm telling you, I don't think he's going to be there by April. This dude is built for the AFC North. Big, strong, athletic, big arm talent. Um, I think he's from Ohio or from Pennsylvania, so he's from big North, I mean AFC North country, Big Ten country. Um, he's just at a team where he's not able to showcase his talents because they have Tyler Warren, and that's basically it. And he's gotten better with his mechanics. He's gotten better with his accuracy. He's gotten better with his decision making. He's getting better and better and better and better and better and better and better again. But he's not at a team where he's gonna make all these highlight plays that make you say, "Oh my God, he made one in the championship game." That last touchdown with a guy on his hip, and he flung it in between two defenders for the touchdown. I said, "There it is. That's the play." And I texted a friend of mine who's a Giants fan and a Penn State fan. I said, "Congratulations, Drew Aller is now a New York Giant." Because I'm telling you, by the time we get to the draft, when they see him throwing the combine, when they see him throw at his pro days, they're gonna say, "Oh my God, this kid's talent is incredible." And he's gonna get the Josh Allen comparisons. He's gonna get the Big Ben comparisons. I'm telling you. As right now, he's there at 27. And again, I am tearing my Achilles and both my Achilles and both my knee and both ligaments in my knees to run to the podium to get this kid. You re-sign Russell Wilson. He's your quarterback for now. Let this kid sit for a year, develop, but you have your quarterback for the future. But I'm telling you, that's up as today. By the time we get to draft day, he's not going to be there. I'm telling you. He's not getting first round buzz right now, and I get that. But some people are. Some people are giving him first round buzz, but he's not a consensus first round. I'm telling you, after that throw, watch. More and more and more people are going to be saying he's a first rounder. I'm telling you, unless he goes into the college football playoff and stinks up the joint, he's going to be a first round player. And by the way, he has a perfect bracket to solidify his thing. He has SMU round one, and then if they win that, which they should, it's at home against SMU. Good football team, but I don't think they're better than Penn State. They play Boise State. They could win both those games. He could play well in both of those games, and then he plays Georgia, and most likely he'll play Georgia in the semifinals. He doesn't have to beat Georgia. He just has to play well against that defense. And if he plays well against that defense, and if he Make some of the throws that he made against Oregon, right? Just do that a couple times where you should see the flashes. Because again, in that offense, you're not gonna see it all the time, but you're gonna, in a big game like that, there's gonna be moments, and he has to step up to the moment. By the way, that play that I just talked about was on fourth down. Fourth down, guy on his hip flings it for a touchdown between two guys. You have a play or two like that against Georgia after a game where you play well against Oregon, after a game we play well against SMU, after you play a good game against Boise State. I'm telling you, even before the combine, they're gonna say this guy's a top five pick. I'm telling you. As of right now, I think he's already just solidified himself as a first round pick. He will do it. He will move up in the rank. My point is, he can only move up at this point. As long as he doesn't play bad, he can only move up. And he's only 20 years old. He might come back to school for real. Um, let's say he doesn't have the greatest college football playoff. He could go back to school. He's only 20 years old. I would hope he transfers if he does, because again, I think he needs to be in an offense where they can showcase his arm a little bit more. But this dude's good, man. He's good. He's really, really good. I'm telling you, mark this down. You'll be watching this on December 9th. Mark this down. By the time we get to April, he's going to be talked about as QB1. Telling you. All right, Minnesota. Um, here, I guess you just got to take a Marion Hampton, right? Like, why wouldn't you? Uh, Jade Barron again is still on the board. I probably want to get him drafted soon, maybe, just maybe. I don't know. Um, but a Marion Hampton is a really good player. You could go Caleb Johnson here too. To either one, to pick your poison. Maybe do Caleb Johnson because of the Midwest connection. Um, but like, yeah, let's just do that. Okay, Buffalo. Oh, Kenneth Grant is still here. What do we even have to? We don't even have to. We don't gotta talk about it, fellas. Um, the Eagles are sitting here. I was gonna trade up with them a couple times, but I've heard from fans in the past that they don't do trade ups, they only do trade downs. So I didn't do it. So let's just see what's available here for them. LT Overton is still here. Oh my God. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. I didn't even realize he was still on the board. I would have had him go earlier. Um, do the Chiefs just take Tyler Warren and just laugh off the stage? Do the Chiefs just take Tyler Warren and just laugh all the way to a fourth championship? I think the Chiefs take Tyler Warren and just laugh themselves to a fourth championship. Yikes. Yikes. The Lions, do I want to have them trade back? But see, here's the problem. Like, who's here that we need to trade up for? If I'm being honest, nobody. If I'm being honest, nobody. I don't. Unless you really want Jalen Milrow on a fifth year deal, I just don't see a team wanting desperately needing Jalen Milrow on a fifth year deal, on a 5 year deal. This quarterback class is just not that good. And the three quarterbacks that I would take in the first round are gone. Um, and yeah, and that's another thing. The teams that need a quarterback that didn't take one already, uh, the Jets and the Browns, they're in shouting distance. Here's my thing with the Jets. I said this last time. I don't think you move on from Aaron Rodgers. I know this sounds crazy to say he just turned 41. He doesn't look good anymore. I still think you give him another year removed from the Achilles. I still think you give him a full year with Devontae Adams, and you just see. And if they stink next year, it's a better quarterback class next year. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if you're the Jets, you go all in, like you win all in, stay here. You know what I mean? Like what is again, there's no quarterback in this class that's worth moving off of Aaron Rodgers anyway. And if he falls to you at 39, okay, fine. Go ahead and draft him. But I wouldn't, yeah, I just wouldn't trade up to get him. So I'm gonna stick here with the Lions and just have them pick someone. And I think that someone is going to be Jack Sawyer. Or maybe Princely. I feel like Jack Sawyer fits what they want to do, and I do think that I think only Dan Campbell and the Lions would pull off a Michigan and a Ohio State edge rusher and have them be best buds. I feel like only Dan Campbell and the Lions can pull that off. By the way, shout out to the Lions for just totally remaking their image and their brand, and now and all of a sudden just become a team that we say only the Lions can pull this off. We used to say that the opposite way, right? We used to say only the Lions can have Matthew Stafford and and uh and Megatron and still suck. Now it's the opposite. Only the Lions can take a Michigan guy, an Ohio State guy, and put them on the same team and have them be the best edge rushing duo in football and be best buds. So yeah. So that is round one. We will do rounds two and three tomorrow. Let's do just a quick little recap. Uh, we have Shador going to the Raiders. We have Cam Ward going to the Giants. Tyrell McMillan going to the Patriots. Mason Graham going to the Panthers. Travis Hunter falling to five. Not that bad. Will Campbell going to the Titans. Will Johnson going to the Jets. By the way, they were comparing Will Johnson to Revis before the season. Just saying. I think that's a good pick. Aston Genty going to the Browns. Kelvin Banks going to the Bears. Wow, Browns, Bears, Bengals, back to back to back. Jeez. Um, Abdul Carter falling to the Bengals. Jesus help me. Nick Scouton going to the Saints. Isaiah Bond going to the Cowboys. Narni Urser. I'm so sorry. I know I destroyed that name. Um, Going to the Dolphins. Two Georgia players back to back, and Malachi Starks and Mikael Williams going to the Colts and Falcons, respectively. Luther Burden, the Denver trading up to get Luther Burden. Wyatt Milam going to the Niners. Cameron Williams going to the Rams. James Pierce to the Buccaneers. Benjamin Morrison going to Washington. Colston Loveland to the Chargers. Jalen Walker to the Cardinals, and that was the trade back from Denver. So, and then Seattle then turned around. Remember, they got screwed out of their linebacker. They turned around and traded back with the Packers so they could get Siobhan Ravel. The Ravens take Marcus Embo. Shamar Stewart stays in Texas and goes to Houston. Jonas, son of A, goes to Seattle. The Steelers take their quarterback in the future of Drew Alar. Marion Hampton going to the Vikings. Kenneth Grant happily going to Buffalo. LT Overton happily going to the Eagles. Tyler Warren very happily going to the Chiefs. And Jack Sawyer finishing up the first round going to the Lions. Again, rounds two and three will be tomorrow. Go ahead and check that out. And please follow me at Never Forget Me. That's NEVA underscore the number four BRETT on underscore ME on Instagram, all the socials, really. We are the underscore dope blog on Instagram and Threads. We are the dope blog, all one word on Twitter. Our website is the dope.blog. And because you're watching this on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. And join us next time as we continue to discuss other people's excellence. Deuces.